Greetings, family, and welcome back to the Electric Leaf, where it is my goal to help you nourish your mind, your body, and your chakras. Today I wanted to talk to you all about how to balance your energy, how to actually balance your chakras. First of all, what are chakras? What are chakras, right? So I'm gonna give you all a nurse's breakdown, a nurse's perspective of what the chakras are. All right. So the chakras are energy centers within the body. So one of my books describes chakras as, or the 7 main chakras that run up and down the spine. They describe it as the major highways, and then everything that branches off of that, like your hand chakra and so on and so forth, those are like the back highways. And I really like the way that they put that because it makes a lot of sense. The main chakras are the root chakra, which is associated with the base of the spine and the adrenal glands, okay? It's associated with the adrenal glands in the base of the spine. The sacral chakra, the sacred chakra, which is associated with the gonads, the ovaries, the testicles, excuse me, I couldn't even hardly get it out. The womb, the sacred chakra is the womb. And men do have womb spaces. It's just that their womb space is not it's not the same as a woman's, clearly, all right? But both are equally important because both energies come together to bring forth new life. The solar plexus here is your 3rd chakra. It's associated with the pancreas, okay? It's associated with the pancreas. The heart chakra, the 4th chakra, is associated with the thymus gland. The throat chakra, the 5th chakra, and it is associated with the thyroid gland. And then you have your 3rd eye and you have your crown chakra, and they sit so close together. You have the pineal gland and then you have the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is what I associate with the crown chakra because it is the master gland, and then you have the pineal gland that is the gland that is associated with sleep-wake cycles and melatonin and all that. Not melanin. I didn't say melanin. I said melatonin, okay? I see a lot of people getting those two confused quite a bit. Okay. They're different. They're different. So, how to balance your energies? All right. So, when it comes to the root chakra, we know that it's associated mostly with the color red and all that. So, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, when I think of the chakras, from a nurse's point of view, I've got to tell you that when I think of the chakras, I see the chakras as the endocrine system. The endocrine system is the system of our glands, okay? And every gland that we have is associated with an organ as well. So, or it's associated with a bodily function. That's why when we talk about aligning the chakras and we talk about those energies being in alignment, you know, we have to give credit to what the body does and how well it does it. I hear some people saying that the chakras aren't real. That's just like saying that the aura isn't real, that you don't have an aura. The aura is an electromagnetic field that is around your body. It's real. It's real, guys. It's real. There really is an electromagnetic field around your body. And there's an electromagnetic field around the earth as well. It's important for us to know these things. Magnets are real. We are magnets. We are magnets. All right, and so the heart chakra puts off a very large field around the body, and so does the brain, but it's not quite as expansive as the field that is generated by the heart. That's why I always feel like the mind is really here. This is where we really truly process things, and that the brain is what helps us to communicate. The brain is what helps us to communicate, especially when I think about people who have had a stroke. But I'll get there when we get here. So starting at the root chakra. The root chakra associated with the color red. It is associated with earth, the element of earth. It is associated with the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands sit about here, right on top of the kidneys. Okay, kidneys are back here. So the root chakra is also associated with safety and surviving. So if you are a person who likes to read a lot, then you know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is very similar. It's a triangle that breaks down the flow of life, basically. The flow of enlightenment, I'll say. How important things are to us, or how we are able to move consciously through our spiritual and mental development. Okay. So at the base of that triangle is physical needs, survival, clothing, shelter, and all of those things are associated with the root chakra as well. Okay. Now, when it comes to the root chakra, we get suggestions to eat red foods. We get suggestions to eat root foods, no matter the color, root foods. And I've also heard people talk about eating meats, red meats, and things of that nature. I never ever agreed with that until I went through an experience recently where I was divinely led to consume meat for a time and learn from that experience. And I did learn a lot, and I did get what I needed from that experience. So when I was eating the meat, I was able to reconnect with my ability to protect myself, which was so strange because I've always been against eating meat since I've been vegan. But done away with that title. I'm definitely plant-based now. But it's just interesting, the things that we go through and how humbling those experiences are. But when it comes to the root chakra and balancing it, I like to tell people it's so important to go and sit on the ground. The root chakra is the foundation of the chakra system, okay? There have been studies that have been done that have also said that people with documented illnesses have gone outside to ground. Grounding is a real term where people go outside and they make skin contact with the earth, which makes sense because with babies, when you want a baby to calm down when it's crying or when it's colicky, you want to take your clothes off and take the baby's clothes off and put your skin to skin together, and that soothes the baby. And 9 times out of 10, I've seen it work almost every time the baby stops crying, unless there's something else going on like a temperature or fever. Okay, but anyway, that makes sense that we too would calm down when we connect with our mother. It works better with fathers too, that baby to skin thing. Works better with fathers. But it makes sense that we would get that calming perception too. The root chakra also, it connects us with our childhood memories, and if you believe in it, our past life memories. Okay, so a lot of times people have a problem with understanding past life memories, but I always tell people, listen, if you don't believe in different timelines or that you've been here before, reincarnated and had different lives, that's cool. But your past lifetimes have a lot to do with your life that you're living now. Things that you may not have healed from childhood, past experiences, sexual trauma, things that may have happened with your family structure. maybe living in a foster home, foster care, foster system. Those things affect your root chakra, the way you were raised, the way you were spoken to as a child, and the ideas that you have in your mind that were embedded in you from childhood. All of these are root chakra things. Your religion, whatever you were grown up with, whatever you were raised up with, knowing as far as spirituality, or whether or not you were an atheist growing up, it doesn't matter. Those things are all involved in your root chakra. And so in order to strengthen and balance that, you want to kind of play with your ideas, play with your different, mull things over, give them good thoughts, question everything you've ever known. Question everything that you've ever known. And also affirm your right to have things and your right to be here by getting up, moving, learning how to get up and go get your paper, go get your money. I have a friend right now. She's a Pisces. My Pisces friends, man, they are the best, all right? And she said, don't you never let nobody keep you from getting your paper. You hear me? You hear me? That was when I was in one of my depressed moans from years back. She came over to my house. She was like, don't you get up. You get up. Don't you never let nobody keep. And that's how she encouraged me, and it worked. Anyway, sacral chakra. Moving on. The sacral chakra, the sacred chakra, the chakra of sex, the chakra of creativity, the chakra of new life, the chakra that God needed to borrow from Mary to bring forth himself in the flesh. Or so the story says. But either or, this is a very sacred space here, okay? This chakra, this area is so sacred. We exchange energies with one another here. We exchange information with one another here. We activate different things in one another here. There's a circuit that is, the circuit is actually put together with the phallus and the yoni. And it does generate an energy. It creates love. You can make love or hate in this space here. So be careful. One of the main ways that I know of how to balance this area is through sexual reflection. So getting to know yourself on a sexual level, actually taking the time to know, ladies, look at your yoni, know what it looks like. Guys, actually respecting your phallus and knowing that every woman is not worthy of your phallus. And also cultivating this energy. So I guess some people will call it like being horny. So when you do feel horny, instead of masturbating or looking for somebody to just lay up with for a night or two, you want to take that energy and transmute it through the heart space, through the arms and the hands, and use it to create something. And usually the thing that you go for to create is usually your passion. It's usually your purpose. And that is a major way to find out what your purpose is through transmuting your sexual energy into creating. That's how I know. I love to cook. I love to cook. I love to write. Cooking and writing, they're right there together. Painting is up there. Creating my YouTube videos is up there. But my go-tos, I take that energy and I write. And usually that energy, when you're doing that, you have to open your crown chakra, because things will start to pour into you. And that's how the sacral chakra, it is such a beautiful chakra. And I'm moving through these things really fast because honestly, this video can be hours long, so I'm moving through it really fast. And if it's anything that you want to elaborate on, then we can do that. Matter of fact, I think it's time for us to do another chakra series, because I've learned so much since I did the first chakra series when I first started the Electric Leaf here on YouTube. So, all right, so things of the spirit are birthed into physical form through the sacral chakra. So it's important to do your yoni exercises, especially for women. One way that a woman is going to balance this energy is by actually rolling her hips and actually getting into a feminine movement, a feminine motion, because a lot of times when a woman rolls her hips, or when you see a woman bust out twerking, it automatically sends people into an idea that of something sexual, when really it's embracing the feminine energy. And because you have this womb space here, it helps to keep this space healthy. It helps with blood flow. It's so many exercises that you can do. Kegels, men and women can do that. So and also I had seen on another channel, her name is the Blackberry Beauty Academy with Lisa Marie Goodson, and she talked about fire breaths as well as different exercises and different body movements that you can do as a woman to get in touch with your sacral energy. Okay, and men have different exercises that they can do as well, as far as the Kegels and as far as holding the seed. Now, holding the seed is not always good for a man, okay? Releasing the seed is going to help with so many things physically, okay? Physically. And it helps to prevent things like cancer as well, to release the seed. So, it needs to be a balance, though. It needs to be a balance, and it also needs to be an understanding of self-reflection during masturbation, and not just masturbation for the sake of an orgasm. It needs to, you can use those orgasms to actually gain a new perspective on difficult situations, honestly. Moving on to the solar plexus. The solar plexus is associated with the pancreas, as I said. That is the go energy. This energy is masculine, and I think it's quite interesting that it's associated with the pancreas and that it is the masculine go, get things done type of energy. And when a lot of men, like, pancreatic cancer is higher in men, and so I just found that to be quite interesting. But the pancreas is also associated with a lot of things that have things to do with digestion and the processing of glucose from our foods, from the foods that we consume. So I'm not going to get all into the Isles of Langerhans and any of that right now in this video, but I just want to make that plain, that when you want to balance this energy, you do need to balance your do with your relax, your get things done with relaxing, working and playing. It needs to be a flow here, because if it's not, you start seeing diseases manifest like the pancreatic cancer and also diabetes. And also water is going to keep everything in alignment. Then moving on to the heart space. The heart space here, masculine and feminine energies are balanced here. The heart is the gateway between the spirit and the physical realm. So the heart space is also associated with the color green. It's associated with the element of air. Let me back up. Elements. The sacral chakra is associated with the element of water. Okay, water. All right, we've got the womb here, the uterus, and then we've got our bladder here as well. All right, and in this space we know that water holds memories. Okay, so that's why a lot of times a lot of us tend to be really out of balance here in the sacral chakra, okay? A lot of us are out of balance here because we are dealing with bad memories and sexual traumas. And a lot of people think that they are not dealing with any type of sexual trauma, but in reality, if you had sex before you understood yourself sexually, before you understood yourself mentally and emotionally, then you have had a sexual trauma, okay? It's just the fact of it. If you're having sex and you never had an orgasm, you're kind of dealing with a confusion there, sexual trauma, like kind of like, you know, when Celia used to say, I ain't never had none. Just Mr. just crawls on top of me and do his business, and then Suge said, do his business. Well, Miss Celia, that means you still a virgin. We're gonna have to do individual videos. I'm seeing that. Okay, so then the heart, the solar plexus, that is associated with the element of fire. The solar plexus is associated with fire. All right. So air. If you watched any of my videos where I was talking about how to increase your intuition, as well as come with me to the Eno River. It was another one. I can't think of what the name of it was. Anyway, it might have been how to open your heart chakra. But the heart chakra, the heart space, when you come out in nature, or when I have had moments where I have actually come out in nature in those videos, and I felt lighter, and I could literally feel air moving through my chest. Now, you have your heart here. You also have your lungs in this space as well. If the lungs and the heart, they work so interchangeably. I mean, they basically are one thing there. You know, the lungs are really there they cradle the heart. You know, they're made for each other. So they're like one thing. Okay. So, with this space, this is where things are processed. This is where your sanctuary is. Sanctuary. Please look up the definition of that word. It's so important. I might put it down at the bottom of the screen. But your sanctuary is in this space here. And a lot of times this space has been blocked off so much because of the traumas that are taking place at the root chakra. That's why everything is so connected. And so in order to balance this space, you must be balanced here. You must be balanced with your root, your sacral, and your solar. Okay? And you have to do. If you're not creating anything with your hands, because the arms are an extension of the heart space, if you're not creating anything, I can assure you that this space is going to become congested. Okay? This space also goes up and it goes outward. The heart space is so expansive. That's why the aura that's generated, the electromagnetic field that's generated from the heart is so big, because the heart does so much. The heart is really the balance of everything. This is really the center of it all. It's not like a triangle like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The heart is where everything is balanced from. The heart is where everything is balanced from. Like if you think about the Libra scales, okay, the heart would be that space in the middle that balances everything, okay? That balances the scales. That's the space in the middle, the heart. Because if you're not speaking your truth, if the heart is trying to speak and communicate, things can get backed up here. I have a personal story I can share one of these days with you all about what happened to me. Now, if the heart is not being listened to, then you might end up having an imbalance in your sacral chakra, having too much unemotional sex and emotionally detached sex, which brings all types of diseases, sexually and spiritually transmitted diseases. Spiritually transmitted diseases are one of the main problems that takes place here, that manifests here in the heart space. For instance, ladies, if you have taken a man into your womb space who, you might have thought you knew him well, but if you take him into your heart, into your womb space, and then you start feeling crazy after, like I see this happen so often. That's fine, and then she'll get with a new guy, and then after that she's off her rocker. And I know that comes, it's a manifestation of the energies that were exchanged, the sexual entities that were exchanged during that act. Sex is an act of worship. And it's best to know what energies you're actually worshiping before you get into that situation. So when you balance the heart space, this is the space that you must listen to. This is where meditation takes place, where you're actually calming yourself and becoming quiet so that you can hear the things, hear the thoughts that are taking place, understand the feelings that are going on with the thoughts. The energies and motions go with the thoughts. They go together. They're anchored to one another. And that's how you're able to understand what your truth is. Because Gemini Brown, he's a astrologer here on YouTube that I follow, and he made a post today, as a matter of fact, that said you'll know the truth by how it feels. And that is absolutely true, because when I need to understand something, I go to the energy of love, and to do that I drop into my heart space and I listen and I feel. Wherever I find my body relax, whatever thought my body relaxes to, whatever thought my body says, okay, wherever my surrender is, that's my truth. And that is how I balance my heart space. You also have to understand the act of giving and receiving here, masculine and feminine here. And masculine and feminine is the energy of giving and receiving, staying and moving. Those energies, feminine energy, that beautiful energy, that beautiful ability to just stand, to be an anchor, that's feminine energy, is beautiful. And that energy of being Merkle and getting your sword out and cutting things away, that's masculine and very necessary. They're both so beautiful. They work together. They're push and pull. They're ebb and flow. They work together. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It doesn't have a gender. It just is. And once you are comfortable with yourself sexually, you're able to receive that here, which brings you more and more balance. The throat chakra, and it's associated with the thymus gland. Now, the interesting thing about the thymus gland is that the thymus gland is the largest when we are children. It shrinks over time. And the thymus gland also helps us to develop our immunity that we'll have for the majority of our lives. I think that's crazy that a gland that important, that plays that big of a role in immunity, would shrink as we get older. Sounds crazy. What are they putting in this food? Okay? But, or what are they chemtrailing in these skies? It's not always about the food. I mean, if they want to get us, they'll get us. And that's why I always tell people when I read 1 Corinthians 13, when it gets down to the part about when I was a child, I thought as a child, I understood as a child, I reasoned as a child, on and on, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. I always tell people it's not always good to put away childish things when it comes to love, okay? It's not always good, because children are so resilient in that area when it comes to love. You can spank a child. I'm not for spanking children all like that. You can spank a child and they'll still come back and be like, Mommy, I love you. Children are so resilient. So we need to still maintain that childlike resilience when it comes to forgiveness and love, because that helps to keep the heart light, okay? That helps to keep the heart light and #unbothered. Moving on to the throat chakra, which is associated with the color blue. It is also associated with the thymus gland. And also, not only is it associated with the thymus gland, but it is associated with the throat, the voice, the speech, okay? So if you're not speaking your truth, then that's backing up here in your heart chakra. Your heart is not going to be healthy. Your heart is going to be out of balance if you're not speaking your truth. But the problem is that a lot of people, when they first start to use their throat chakra, it can be a little bit tactless sometimes. And so it takes a bit of practice so that you understand how to use your voice to create healthy boundaries, speak your truth, and let people know that you love them. Okay? And let yourself know that you love them. But one of the best ways to heal and balance your throat chakra is to do mirror work, to stand in the mirror and speak to yourself. Say the words to yourself that you feel that you need to say to someone else. If you can speak to yourself and not feel offended and feel that, yes, you know, I would be able to receive this message from someone else. I would be able to understand it clearly. I wouldn't be offended. Then you know you're making progress. A lot of times with the throat chakra, though, we have to remember that the throat chakra it's a portal. Okay, it looks very much like the yoni. Okay, so you also receive lots of messages from the divine, because like I said, the heart chakra here is a gateway between the elements, the chakras of the spirit and the chakras of the physical. Okay, the heart is the gateway between spiritual, physical. Okay, it's the anchor there. But when you speak, you have to remember that things that are in this cloud here, all right, this cloud that we can't see, this grid that we can't see, the energies that are around us, the ideas and the words that are floating around us, these things, we have the ability to bring them in, process them, and have them developed in a way that we can communicate them into the physical world. That's why words have so much power. Words are frequencies and vibrations, and those words cast spells. So when you speak, make sure that you're speaking life. Make sure that you say the things that you would like to actually see manifested into the world, because this is what is going to birth those things into the physical world, just like the sacral chakra bursts things into the physical world. So mirror work is the main way to exercise this. You'll be able to understand whether you're toxic or whether you are timid, or whether you are you love the way you communicate, or whether you might want to practice communicating a little bit more effectively. Either or, you will know through mirror work. All right. Now, the third eye. Everybody loves to talk about this third eye. The third eye chakra is associated with the pineal gland. The pineal gland is associated with melatonin, which it helps us to understand our sleep-wake cycles. There are rods and cones within the pineal gland, just like what we find in our natural seeing eyes. Okay? That pineal gland is also affected by light. Okay, the amount of melatonin that we produce is affected by the amount of sunlight that we actually come in contact with. So if you're having a hard time sleeping at night, then you might want to increase the amount of time that you spend in daylight, or the amount of daylight that you allow to come into your home. Okay, that's going to really, really help. When you think about being able to open your third eye and being able to see, it really comes down to, you see this gateway here, all right? Because these two things are really associated, your solar plexus and your third eye, because this solar plexus is associated with your intuition, and your intuition comes from listening here, listening with your senses, okay, and recognizing patterns. You recognize patterns in the physical world with your natural eyes. Okay, and as you recognize these patterns, your solar plexus kicks in, and that's where you start to understand things, terminologies like gut feeling. I had a gut feeling because if I were to take something, this pine cones are Pine cones are typically associated with assisting with opening the pineal gland because the pineal gland looks like a little pine cone. But okay, so if I were to take this and wind it up, you would think that my next move would be to throw it. Okay, so, and that's because you've seen that movement happen before and you understand what happens next. Oh my gosh, all these spiders are dropping down. But you would need to understand patterns, and even having something like this around, that it is a natural pattern from nature, is going to help to activate your ability to recognize patterns. Okay, so just coming out in nature and looking at how things grow and the pattern of what nature does naturally, you know, like now this time of year I knew that we were going to start to see clover pop up in the yard, because that's just what happens around the springtime. We start to see more clover patches, and that's cool. But patterns. So, and then with your third eye, you can close your eyes and see things with your mind's eye. And now that's when things get really real, because as you start to close your eyes and see things, you'll more than likely start to have visions. As you also, when you dream, remember the pineal is associated with sleep-wake cycles. As you dream, when you first wake up, if you start writing your dreams down and intentionally recalling your dreams and going through the energies and motions that go along with what you saw, then you will start to gain your third eye's capability, and you will understand what it means to see with your supernatural eye. And it can be scary sometimes, and sometimes I get angry because of the things that I see and some of the things that I've learned, but I'm still thankful nonetheless. And I do still work with my third eye, my brow chakra as well. I still work with it very much. Everything is not always a joy to see, but necessary. Okay. Also, dreams. We'll have to make a whole new video, because a lot of times people will try to tell you, oh, this dream symbol means this and that. No. I have a surefire method to help you interpret your dreams if that's something that you would want to see. Now, moving on to the crown chakra. The crown chakra is associated with the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is the master gland, okay? It is the master gland. And I'm not saying what elements these things, the spiritual chakras are associated with, because they're associated more with sounds than anything else. But I will put a note there, I guess. But the crown chakra is associated with the 1,000-petal lotus, like ever blooming, like an ever blooming flower on top of the head, because it really put you in the mind of having an open mind and being open to those universal frequencies, or as some would understand it to be, the Holy Spirit, okay? That space, the cloud that is around us, where our ancestors and spirit guides, the part of life that we can't see with our natural eyes, that part of life where one person across the world can think a thought and I can think the same thought, and we both are on the same frequency and wavelength, because it's these universal frequencies that are out there, and if you're open to it, then you can receive. When the student is ready, the teacher appears in many forms, And so anyway, this crown chakra is associated with being able to disassociate and associate all at once, detaching from everything to understand that there is no detachment, because all is one. And so I'm going to end here, and if you guys want individual videos on each chakra, then let me know. This is your endocrine system, okay? And your chakras are super affected by your posture and the amount of water that you drink. If you are like this, if you have a posture that is very much like this, and this is how you stand most of the time, this is how your shoulders are kind of like just Your posture affects your spinal column. Your spinal column is the highway of information. You have nerves that run up and down your spinal column that branch off everywhere. I'm not going to get into all that right now. I would love to, but I can't. I don't have time. Yes. But the shape of something affects what it does. You know this. You know this. The shape of something affects what it does. All right? So if your posture is erect and you have good posture, then the information is going to be able to flow much easier than it would if you're in a very slouched posture, okay? And I also noticed that being slouched also brings on negative thoughts, negative self-talk. I will say this to you also as a tip. If you find yourself in a negative whirl of thoughts, check your posture and square up your shoulders and straighten your back and elongate your spine and look up, because it's almost impossible to say, I'm nothing in this posture, or I'm so stupid. It's almost impossible. I do that exercise with my daughter, so we'll have to talk about that as well in another video. So yeah. So food, yes. You're going to want to eat food that's associated with the colors of each. And I talked about the foods in my other videos mostly. So if you want to know what foods to eat to recharge your chakras, then please check out my series on the chakras and how to eat to charge your chakras. How to eat to heal your chakras. So this video has gone much longer than I wanted it to, but the chakras are so expansive. It's such a huge topic, okay? Because from a nurse's point of view, we could get all into the functionality of the endocrine system and the organs that they mostly affect and how they all play off of one another, which that would be great. If that's something that you all would like to learn about, let me know. I can definitely put that together, but that would take some time for me to put that together. And so just let me know. Do y'all want to know about it from a nurse's point of view? Let me know. And we can actually go through it. We can comb through it in a very beautiful way. So, but anyway, I'm going to let you all go here. I know it's been a lot in this video, all right? So until next time, continue to vibrate love and vibrate well. Peace.